Even though we've all heard how great the market is today, I want to give you a few tips, and I want to help you understand that, quite honestly, all buyers and all sellers are feeling the stress of the market. Hi, I'm Susan Brewer. We've had a ton of situations where we've listed a property and several buyers have had interest in it and several buyers have made offers on it. So now it's up to the seller to really take a look at each of the offers and make a selection of what buyer they believe will be the best buyer by price, terms, and risks. So that means we break hearts along the way. There are buyers that don't get the house that feel like it's the perfect house for them, and sellers feel that stress. They want one buyer for their house that loves it. When they get 4, 5, or 6, gosh, it sounds fun, it sounds amazing, but quite honestly, it is a hard market for both parties. Let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, the first thing a buyer always looks at is page 1 of the contract that starts to talk about price. So even though you may be a buyer who offers a very strong price, the next page talks about the biggest portion that we have to take a look at in real estate, and that is the terms. Easy term, closing date. That can be agreed upon in advance if there's specific times for the seller. But now let's talk about the lending portion. Now this is the portion you work directly with your lender on, or if you're a cash buyer, getting the paperwork that proves that you have the funds in place. So every seller takes a look at the price and then the terms to make sure that that buyer seems to be the best for the profile of their house. It actually starts before contract. It starts when a buyer is talking to a lender and the lender tells them what type of loan they qualify for. And the 4 we see most often in today's market is conventional, FHA, VA, and then quite honestly not contingent upon financing. That could be a cash sale, or that could be someone who's already got their lending 100% in place and does not have to use that as a contingency. So the next step would be taking a look at the MLS sheet or the detail sheet that the agents provide and supply online. Then that will tell you what type of loans that seller is able to work with. Example, if it's just cash and conventional, it may not qualify for an FHA loan or a VA loan because of some work that needs to be done to the house, some type of condition. So now we've got type of loan. The next section is how much money is that buyer putting down. So if you're putting down 3%, you might be a little bit more of a risk for the appraisal process to come in, because you don't have that extra capital to make up the difference between appraisal and sale price. So if a buyer is putting down 10% with a conventional loan or 20% with a conventional loan or 50%, they may be much less of a risk than a 3% down buyer. So remember that. That's a conversation you have to have with your lender in advance to try to make sure that you are the strongest buyer. Things like asking for closing costs, asking for home warranties. If you're in a multiple offer situation, this could cause you to lose the house as well. So we want to make it as fun as possible for the buyer and the seller. We know there's stress involved. Quite honestly, as a realtor, it would be nice to have one buyer for each house versus 5, 10, 15, and find out that we have unhappy souls going through the process. The seller really has to know the options, the terms, and the information. As a buyer, you have to listen to your lender for coaching and counseling. Everybody, this is a wild ride, so we need to make sure that we're all as equipped as possible to make offers on houses. Thanks.